The large silver ship appeared in the sky over Washington, D.C. without warning. One moment the sky was clear, and the next it was there, hanging like a massive metal teardrop above the White House. People stopped in the streets to stare up at it. Some ran, some took pictures with their phones. No one knew what to do. In a secure room beneath the Pentagon, Commander Alan Wright watched the live feed with a tight jaw and clenched fists. Next to him, Dr. Olivia Kent adjusted her glasses and took notes on a tablet. "How long have they been there?" Alan asked. 17 minutes, replied General Scott. "They haven't made any moves or sent any communications." As if on cue, every screen, phone, and digital device across the country flickered. A face appeared, gray-skinned with large black eyes and a small mouth. When it spoke, its voice was deep and metallic. "People of Earth, we are the Zolaxians. We come as representatives of the Galactic Council. We have been observing your world for some time. We wish to establish formal contact. Send your leaders to your central government building. You have 1 hour." The message ended. The room erupted into noise as military officers and government officials argued about what to do. "We need to show force," said one general. "Call in the jets." "Are you insane?" replied another. "Look at that ship. You think F-35s will do anything against that?" President Clark raised her hand, and the room fell silent. "We'll send representatives." "Commander Wright, you have combat and tactical experience. Dr. Kent, you're our best linguist. You two will represent us, along with Secretary Reed." Alan looked at Olivia. Her face was pale, but she nodded. 3 hours later, they sat in the Oval Office across from 3 Zolaxians. The aliens were taller than humans, with long limbs and gray skin that seemed to shimmer in the light. They wore no visible weapons, but Alan felt threatened all the same. The lead alien, who called himself High Emissary Krell, spoke through a small device on his chest that translated his words. "The Galactic Council has classified your species as Class C, primitive but with potential. We have come to offer you protection and guidance." Secretary Reed leaned forward. "And what does this protection involve?" "Your world will be placed under protective oversight. You will provide resources the Council needs. Eventually, your people will serve as soldiers in our war against the Void Reavers." "And if we refuse?" Alan asked. Krell's black eyes seemed to grow darker. "That would be unwise. Refusal would mark your world as hostile. Hostile worlds are pacified." As they talked, Olivia noticed something odd. The translation device on Krell's chest had a small light that flashed red sometimes when they spoke. She began to pay closer attention to when it happened. "We would need time to consider these terms," said Secretary Reed. The device flashed red, but Krell replied, "Your words suggest deception and hostility." Olivia frowned. That wasn't what Reed had said at all. "There's no deception," Reed insisted. "We simply need time to—" "More lies," interrupted Krell. "You humans are proving to be difficult." Alan glanced at Olivia, who discreetly showed him her tablet. She had written, "Their device is mistranslating us on purpose." Alan nodded slightly and turned back to Krell. "Perhaps there's a misunderstanding. We want peaceful relations." But Olivia could see the red flash again. Whatever Krell heard, it wasn't what Alan had actually said. "I've had enough of these games," Krell said suddenly, standing up. "You humans clearly cannot be reasoned with." "Wait," Olivia stood up. "Your translation device is malfunctioning. It's not accurately." Krell moved with shocking speed. A weapon appeared in his hand, seemingly from nowhere. Energy flashed across the room. Secretary Reed fell. Security officers burst in, guns drawn. Alan pushed Olivia behind him as chaos erupted. More energy blasts. Pain exploded in Alan's chest as he was hit. He fell to the floor, his vision blurring. The last thing he saw before darkness took him was Olivia's face above him, her mouth open in a scream he couldn't hear. Behind her, the Zalaxians were already giving orders about what would happen next. Earth's first contact had gone very wrong. 6 months had passed since the Zalaxians took control of Earth. The sky over most major cities now held at least one silver ship. Soldiers in gray armor patrolled the streets. People kept their heads down and did as they were told. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a place not marked on any map, Dr. Samantha Ellis stared at the glowing blue device in the center of the lab. The machine pulsed with energy, casting strange shadows on the walls of the underground facility known as Prometheus Base. "Any change in the readings?" she asked her assistant. "No, Dr. Ellis. Still stable at 42%, he replied. Samantha sighed and pushed her red hair behind her ears. They were running out of time. The Zalaxians were stripping Earth of its resources faster than anyone had predicted. Forests were being cut down. Oceans were being drained of certain minerals. At this rate, the planet would be uninhabitable within 5 years. The door to the lab slid open. General Nathan Harris walked in, his uniform crisp despite the circumstances. Behind him came 2 people, a man with a large scar across his face, and a woman Samantha recognized immediately. "Dr. Kent," Samantha said with surprise, "we thought you died in the first contact incident." "Almost did," Olivia replied. "They kept me alive to help them understand human languages better." "And him?" Samantha nodded toward the scared man. "Commander Alan Wright," General Harris said. "He took a blast meant for Dr. Kent. The Zalaxians left him for dead. But our people found him." Alan looked at the blue device. "So this is it, the famous Prometheus project." "Part of it," Samantha replied. She pressed a button on her tablet, and the wall behind the device slid away, revealing a massive chamber. In the center was a chair surrounded by rings of metal and crystal. "This is the heart of it." "What does it do?" Alan asked. Samantha looked at General Harris, who nodded. "After the Roswell incident in 1947, we recovered technology that suggested we weren't alone in the universe. The government created this facility to study it and develop our own advances, just in case whoever was out there wasn't friendly." She walked toward the chair. "This machine can manipulate quantum entanglement on a scale never seen before. In theory, it could allow a person to alter matter and energy with just their thoughts." "In theory?" Olivia asked. "We've never tested it at full power," Samantha admitted. "The risks were deemed too great. But now we don't have a choice," General Harris finished. "The Zalaxians are planning something worse than just taking our resources. Show them what we found, Dr. Kent." Olivia pulled out a small device and projected an image onto the wall. It showed strange symbols and diagrams. "I stole this from their central computer while escaping. It took me weeks to translate parts of it. This isn't just an occupation, it's preparation. Earth is being set up as a buffer zone against something the Zalaxians call the Void Reavers." "What are Void Reavers?" Alan asked. "Something that terrifies even the Zalaxians," Olivia said grimly. "From what I could gather, they're another alien race that's been moving through the galaxy, destroying everything in their path. The Galactic Council has been setting up less advanced worlds as sacrifice zones to slow them down." The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. "So we're just cannon fodder," Alan said finally. "Yes," General Harris replied. "Unless we can find a way to fight back." "That's where you come in, Commander Wright." "Me?" Samantha stepped forward. "We need to test the Prometheus device, but any energy spike would alert the Zalaxians to our location. We need someone to operate it while the resistance creates a distraction." "And why me specifically?" Alan asked. "Because," Samantha said, "early tests showed that some humans have a higher natural affinity for quantum manipulation than others. Before the invasion, we tested thousands of military personnel secretly. Your results were off the charts, Commander." Alan looked at the chair with its strange rings. "What exactly would I have to do?" "Sit in the chair," Samantha said. "Let the machine connect to your mind. and then try to change the world. Outside the facility, above ground, snow began to fall. In the distance, a Zalaxian patrol ship cut through the clouds, searching for signs of resistance. Time was running out for humanity. Sergeant Diane Powell crouched behind a rusted car and signaled to her team to stop. Ahead, 3 Zalaxian guards stood outside the entrance to the mining facility near Seattle. Their gray armor gleamed in the rain. Each carried a weapon that could vaporize a human in seconds. 4 minutes until shift change, whispered Ryan Martinez beside her. The young engineer had a laptop open, protected from the rain by a makeshift shelter. On the screen, he monitored the Zalaxian communication channels he had hacked. Diane nodded. 6 months ago, she had been a normal Marine sergeant. Now she led one of the largest resistance cells on the West Coast. Her team had destroyed 3 mining operations in the last month alone. Remember, she told her team, we plant the charges and leave. No heroics. No extended firefights. The rebels nodded. Most were former military. Some were just ordinary people who had lost everything to the aliens. All were committed to fighting back, even against impossible odds. Ryan suddenly stiffened. Incoming message on the emergency channel. It's from command. He handed Diane an earpiece. She listened as a voice she recognized as General Harris gave new orders. When the message ended, she looked at her team with wide eyes. Change of plans. We're going for maximum disruption. Command wants every Zalaxian facility hit simultaneously in 12 hours. Why the change? Asked Peter, her second in command. Diane shook her head. They didn't say, but they're calling in every resistance cell worldwide. Something big is happening. 5,000 miles away, Lieutenant Eric Turner moved silently through the corridors of a Zalaxian processing center. His stolen guard uniform was uncomfortable and smelled strange, but it had gotten him inside. As a former Navy SEAL, Turner had volunteered for this infiltration mission weeks ago. He slipped into an empty room filled with alien computers. Working quickly, he attached a small device Ryan Martinez had designed to one of the terminals. The device began copying data automatically. As he waited, he scanned through the files appearing on his small handheld screen. Most were in the alien language, but some had been translated for Zalaxians who were learning English. One file caught his attention. Earth Preparation Protocol. Turner opened it and began to read. His blood ran cold. The Zalaxians weren't just taking resources. They were weaponizing the planet, setting up massive energy cannons, creating biological distribution centers, all designed not to protect Earth, but to make it a tempting target, a sacrificial planet. The file explained that the Void Reavers were drawn to developing civilizations with high technology and abundant resources. The Galactic Council's strategy was to make Earth too tempting to pass up, buying time for the Council worlds to prepare their defenses. Humanity was just bait. Turner copied everything and slipped out of the room. He had to get this information back to command. In Prometheus Base, Alan Wright sat in a chair facing Dr. Ellis and General Harris. Olivia Kent stood nearby, concern evident on her face. The resistance is in position, General Harris said. In 12 hours, they'll launch coordinated attacks worldwide. That should mask our energy signature when we test the device. And if it works? Alan asked. What then? Then we fight back, General Harris said simply. Dr. Ellis stepped forward. Before we proceed, you need to understand the risks, Commander. No human has ever fully connected to the Prometheus device. Our simulations suggest it could enhance natural human abilities, but the strain could be significant. She means it might kill you, Olivia said bluntly. Alan looked at the chair with its strange metal rings. And if I don't try? Then in a few months, maybe a year, the Void Reavers arrive and Earth becomes a battleground, General Harris replied. Billions die either way. Alan nodded slowly. When do we start? We'll need time to calibrate the system to your neural patterns, Dr. Ellis explained. Rest today. Tomorrow, When the resistance launches their attack, we begin. As Alan left the room with Olivia, Dr. Ellis turned to General Harris. I didn't tell him everything. The simulation showed something else. What? If it works, if he can truly connect with the quantum field, he won't just be able to manipulate matter and energy. He might be able to connect with other humans through the field. Share the ability. General Harris's eyes widened. You mean? Yes, Dr. Ellis said quietly. We won't be creating one weapon against the Zalaxians. We might be awakening humanity's true potential, all of humanity. The next day arrived with a sense of tension in Prometheus Base. Alan Wright sat in a plane room, trying to keep his breathing steady. In a few hours, he would connect to the Prometheus device. The thought made his heart race. The door opened and Olivia Kent walked in. She sat across from him without speaking. You don't have to be here for this, Alan said finally. Olivia shook her head. Yes, I do. Someone needs to make sure these scientists don't treat you like just another experiment. Alan smiled slightly. In the months since the attack, Olivia had become important to him. They had both lost so much, found comfort in shared grief. Dr. Ellis says the device will create a quantum field around me, Alan said. I'll be able to manipulate matter within that field, if it works. And if it doesn't? Olivia asked quietly. Alan didn't answer. They both knew the risks. A knock at the door interrupted them. General Harris entered, his face grim. It's time. The resistance attacks have begun. Around the world, humanity rose up against their oppressors. In Seattle, Diane Powell led her team into the mining facility. Explosions rocked the building as they placed charges on key equipment. 30 seconds, she shouted over the noise. Zalaxian guards fired energy weapons at the rebels. 2 humans fell, but the others kept fighting. This wasn't just another sabotage mission. This was their big push. In Mumbai, resistance fighters attacked a communication tower. In Rio, they targeted a processing plant. In Cairo, London, and Tokyo, similar scenes played out. Humans, outgunned but determined, struck against Zalaxian targets with everything they had. The aliens responded with force, calling in ships and troops to crush the rebellion. Just as planned, their attention turned away from detecting energy anomalies. In Prometheus Base, Alan Wright was led into the main chamber. The device waited for him, a chair surrounded by spinning rings of metal. Blue energy pulsed between them. Dr. Ellis approached him with a small device. This will monitor your vital signs during the test. She attached it to his temple. Alan could feel his heart pounding. He looked around the room one last time. Olivia stood near the door. She gave him a small nod of encouragement. The resistance attacks have the Zalaxians distracted, General Harris said. We have maybe 20 minutes before they might detect our energy spike. Alan took a deep breath and sat in the chair. Metal restraints automatically closed around his arms and legs. Those are for your safety, Dr. Ellis explained. The connection process can cause involuntary muscle movements. She moved to a control panel and began typing. The rings around the chair spun faster. The blue energy grew brighter. Beginning neural interface in 3, 2, 1. Pain shot through Alan's body. He arched against the restraints, teeth clenched to keep from screaming. It felt like fire in his veins, electricity through his brain. Then suddenly, it changed. The pain faded, replaced by a strange sensation of expansion. Alan could feel the quantum field forming around him. He could see it, a blue glow extending from his body. It's working, Dr. Ellis said, excitement in her voice. Neural patterns are stable. Quantum field is expanding. Alan focused on the field. Following the training he'd received, he tried to manipulate it. A small metal ball had been placed on a table near the chair. He concentrated on it, willing it to move. The ball trembled, then rose into the air. He's doing it, someone shouted. But Alan barely heard them. Something unexpected was happening. The quantum field was growing, pushing outward beyond the test area. And he could feel something else. Connections, like thin threads of light, extending from him outward. Field expansion exceeding projected parameters, Dr. Ellis said, her voice now concerned. Alan, try to stabilize. But Alan couldn't. The field kept growing. And with it came awareness. He could feel the base around him, every person in it, could sense their thoughts, emotions. I can feel them, he whispered. Everyone. Not just here. Outside too. Further. Further. The monitors started beeping frantically. Dr. Ellis looked alarmed. His neural activity is off the charts. We need to shut it down. No, Alan shouted. I can see it now. I understand. We're all connected. The quantum field, it's everywhere. And we can all access it. All of us. As the scientists scrambled to respond, a new alarm sounded. General Harris looked at a screen, and his face paled. Zolaxian ships. They've detected us. 3 minutes until they reach our position. But Alan smiled. It doesn't matter. They're already too late. Alarms blared throughout Prometheus Base. Red emergency lights flashed in the corridors. General Harris barked orders as his staff rushed to prepare defenses. 2 minutes until Zolaxian forces breach our outer perimeter, someone called out. In the center of the testing chamber, Alan Wright remained connected to the Prometheus device. The blue quantum field around him pulsed and expanded, now filling the entire room. Dr. Ellis and her team worked frantically at their stations. We need to disconnect him, Dr. Ellis said. The field is becoming unstable. Olivia Kent stepped forward. Alan, can you hear me? His eyes opened. They glowed with the same blue energy that surrounded him. I can hear you, Olivia. I can hear everyone. We need to shut down the test, General Harris said. The Zolaxians are coming. We have to evacuate and destroy the facility. But Alan shook his head. No, don't you understand? This is what we've been waiting for. The quantum field. It's not just around me. It's everywhere. It connects everything. And humans can access it naturally. What are you talking about? Dr. Ellis asked. Alan smiled. Our brains evolved differently than alien brains. Earth's magnetic field, the specific elements in our environment. They created a species that can naturally interface with quantum reality. We just never knew how to access it. Alan, there's no time for theories, General Harris insisted. Those ships will be here any minute. It doesn't matter, Alan said calmly. I'm already connected to resistance fighters around the world. I'm showing them how to access the field. In Seattle, Diane Powell ducked behind a broken wall as Zolaxian energy weapons fired overhead. Her team was pinned down, outnumbered. They had succeeded in destroying the mining facility, but escape now seemed impossible. Suddenly, Diane felt a strange sensation in her mind. A presence, a voice that wasn't a voice. Asterisk, you can access the quantum field. Let me show you how, asterisk. Knowledge flowed into her mind. Understanding. She looked at her hand and concentrated. A blue glow formed around it. Diane stepped out from behind the wall. A Zolaxian fired at her. She raised her hand instinctively. The energy blast stopped in midair, suspended in the quantum field she had created. With a thought, she sent the blast back at the shocked alien. Across the world, similar scenes unfolded. Humans suddenly discovering abilities they never knew they had. The ability to manipulate matter, control energy, even bend space itself. In Prometheus Base, Olivia stared at Alan in amazement. You're connecting with them all. How is that possible? The human brain is already linked through quantum entanglement, he explained. We just never realized it. The Prometheus device didn't give me these abilities. It just showed me how to use what was already there. Dr. Ellis looked at her monitors in shock. The quantum field is spreading across the entire planet. It's like humanity is waking up. The building shook as the first Zolaxian weapons hit the mountain above them. They're here, General Harris said grimly. The doors to the chamber burst open. Zelaxian soldiers rushed in, weapons raised. General Harris and his security team raised their guns, ready for a hopeless last stand. But Alan raised his hand. The aliens froze in place, caught in his quantum field. "This isn't just my power," Alan said quietly. "It's all of humanity's." He closed his eyes and concentrated. Throughout the base, humans felt the knowledge flow into their minds. They understood how to tap into the quantum field, how to use abilities that had lain dormant in their DNA for thousands of years. General Harris stared as a blue glow formed around his own hand. He looked at the frozen Zelaxians and smiled for the first time in months. Outside, massive Zelaxian ships hovered over the mountain. Inside them, alien commanders prepared to destroy the human facility. They had no way of knowing that it was already too late. Humanity had awakened. In Washington, D.C., High Emissary Krell received urgent messages from Zelaxian forces worldwide. Humans displaying impossible abilities. Energy weapons that no longer worked against them. Ships unable to maintain position. Krell's black eyes narrowed as he realized the truth. The species they had dismissed as primitive had hidden depths none of them had suspected. And now, they would all pay the price for that mistake. 1 week after humanity awakened to its quantum abilities, the war against the Zelaxians had completely changed. High Commander Xeller arrived in Earth's orbit with the largest alien fleet humans had ever seen. 200 ships, massive and armed with planet-killing weapons. "This is your final warning." Seller's message boomed across every communication device on Earth. "Surrender your leaders and disable this quantum technology, or we will have no choice but to destroy your world." In the new Resistance headquarters, moved from Prometheus Base to an underwater facility in the Pacific Ocean, Alan Wright smiled. The blue glow that had surrounded him since his connection to the device was now permanent, a visible sign of his deep link to the quantum field. "They still don't understand," he said to the others gathered around him. "It's not technology. It's us. It's what we've always been capable of." General Harris nodded. "Their scans show the quantum field has now covered the entire planet. Every human on Earth has at least some ability to access it. Some more than others," Dr. Ellis added, looking at her tablet. "We've identified several thousand individuals with extraordinary control, like you, Alan. We're bringing them here for training." Olivia Kent entered the room, followed by Eric Turner, who had escaped the Zelaxian Processing Center with the critical information about the Void Reavers. "The Zelaxians have started their attack," Olivia reported. "They're targeting major cities first." On screens around the room, they watched as enemy ships positioned themselves above New York, London, Tokyo, and other population centers. Energy weapons powered up, glowing with deadly purpose. "They think we need time to prepare," Alan said quietly. "They don't realize we're already ready." In New York, a young woman named Lisa Clark stood on the roof of her apartment building. She had been a school teacher before the invasion. Now she looked up at the massive ship above her city and felt no fear, only resolve. Lisa raised her hands. Blue energy flowed from her fingertips, spreading outward and upward. All around her, thousands of other New Yorkers did the same. Their quantum fields merged, creating a massive shield over the entire city. When the Zelaxian ship fired, its energy beam hit the shield and stopped. The humans controlling the shield didn't just block the attack. They absorbed its energy, strengthening their own field. Similar scenes played out in cities across the world. Humans standing together, creating defenses that the Zelaxians couldn't penetrate. In Seattle, Diane Powell led a different kind of counterattack. She and 50 other former soldiers used their quantum abilities to teleport directly onto the Zelaxian ship above their city. Inside, they moved through corridors, neutralizing alien resistance with ease. Engine room secured. Diane reported through the quantum field, her thoughts reaching Alan instantly across thousands of miles. "Good," Alan replied the same way. "Stand by for next phase." In orbit, High Commander Xeller received alarming reports from his fleet. Humans were boarding ships, shields were failing, weapons were being neutralized, and strangest of all, some captains reported seeing human forms appear briefly in space itself, without protection, manipulating the ships from outside. Impossible, Xeller hissed. No species can survive vacuum. But through the quantum field, humans were learning they could do exactly that. For short periods, they could extend their fields to protect themselves even in space. Back in the underwater base, Alan stood up. It's time to end this. They need to understand we're not interested in destroying them. We just want our planet back. He closed his eyes and extended his consciousness through the quantum field, connecting with the thousands of humans who had shown the strongest abilities. Together, they reached out toward the Zolaxian fleet. Space itself seemed to ripple around the alien ships. One by one, their engines shut down. Weapons systems went offline. Communication arrays stopped transmitting. In his command ship, Xeller watched in horror as his mighty fleet was neutralized without a single shot being fired. The blue glow began to fill his bridge. A human figure materialized. Alan Wright, projecting his quantum form across space. "This war is over," Alan said simply. "You will leave our world. And then we need to talk about the real enemy. The one you were planning to sacrifice us to face." Seller's eyes widened. "The Void Reavers. You know about them." Alan nodded. "We know. And unlike you, we plan to fight them, not use others as shields." For the first time in his long life, Xeller felt something he had never expected to feel when dealing with a Class C species: fear. 3 months had passed since the Zolaxians retreated from Earth. The planet had changed in ways no one could have imagined. Cities damaged during the occupation were rebuilt in days, not years, as humans used their quantum abilities to move and reshape matter. Food shortages ended as people learned to enhance plant growth and purify water with a thought. In the Great Hall of the Galactic Council, Olivia Kent stood before representatives of 30 alien species. Alan Wright and General Harris stood beside her. Behind them were 50 other humans, each chosen for their diplomatic skills and strength in the quantum field. "Humanity comes before this council, not as supplicants, but as equals," Olivia began. "We have driven the occupation force from our world and neutralized the fleet sent to destroy us." Murmurs spread through the alien delegates. Many had already heard of Earth's surprising resistance, but few believed the stories. "The Zolaxians classified us as a Class C species," Olivia continued. "They believed us primitive, useful only as a sacrifice to delay the Void Reavers. They were wrong about us. And you are all wrong about the Void Reavers." She nodded to Alan. He stepped forward and raised his hands. The blue quantum field expanded from him, filling the chamber. Within it, images appeared, stars, planets, and a darkness moving between them. "For centuries, your council has sacrificed less developed worlds to slow the Void Reavers," Alan said. "You've hidden behind the deaths of billions. But we've been studying them through the quantum field, and we've learned something important." The images zoomed in on the darkness. It resolved into millions of small shapes, moving together like a swarm. "The Void Reavers aren't a single species," Alan explained. "They're a collective of beings who have also discovered the quantum field, but in a different way than we have. They don't consume worlds. They convert them." The council leader, a tall being with 6 arms and skin like polished metal, leaned forward. "Convert them to what?" "To quantum reservoirs," Dr. Ellis said, stepping up beside Alan. "They're trying to reach a critical threshold of quantum energy throughout the galaxy. We don't know why yet, but we believe they're trying to achieve something they consider necessary." "How can you know this?" demanded one of the Zolaxian representatives. Alan smiled. "Because I've communicated with them." Gasps filled the chamber. Even Olivia and General Harris looked surprised. "Through the quantum field, distance is meaningless," Alan explained. "Once I understood how to look, I could sense them. They noticed me too." We couldn't understand each other fully, but I sensed no malice from them. Just purpose. What are you suggesting? The council leader asked. An alliance, Olivia replied. Not just between humans and the council, but with the Void Reavers too. Communication instead of conflict. We believe we can serve as translators through the quantum field. The chamber erupted in noise as delegates argued among themselves. The council leader raised a hand for silence. You ask us to trust a species that went from primitive to powerful overnight. How do we know you won't turn these abilities against us? General Harris stepped forward. Because we could have already done so, but chose not to. The Zelexian fleet returned not because we couldn't destroy it, but because we chose mercy instead. And there's something else you should know, Alan added. The quantum field isn't unique to humans. We believe many species have the potential to access it. They just need to be shown how. To demonstrate, Alan extended his field toward the council leader. Blue energy flowed between them. The leader's eyes widened in shock. I can feel it, the leader whispered. This is what humanity offers the galaxy, Olivia said. Not conquest, not revenge for being marked as a sacrifice, but a sharing of knowledge, a new understanding of reality itself. As they spoke, far across the galaxy, the edge of the Void Reaver swarm changed direction. They had sensed the connection, the offer of communication rather than conflict. For the first time in millennia, they paused in their conversion of worlds. On Earth, humans looked up at the night sky with new eyes. They could feel the quantum connections between stars, between worlds. The universe had become both larger and smaller, more complex and yet more unified. The day humanity revealed its true power hadn't just shaken the galaxy. It had transformed it forever. And this was just the beginning.